on October 7th, 1,400 plus Israeli children, young people, Holocaust survivors were butchered in the most horrific ways. Now, three things can happen as a result of such a reality. If you pursue the ontological principles of shared humanity, you would be, so there are three things that could happen globally, right? And before I explain that, let me draw an analogy. If you are on a diet every single day as a result of the set of decisions you make that day, three things can happen to your weight. There is no fourth thing. It's only three things. Either your weight at the end of that day goes up, either your weight stays exactly the same, or your weight goes down. There is no other possibility, correct? Now, let's apply that to October 7th, 1,400 Jews were slaughtered in this most incredibly vicious, barbaric way. So three things can happen from the global community. There could be increased Jew hatred, there could be no change in Jew hatred, or there could be decreased Jew hatred. Well, you would think if 1,400 Jews who were at a music festival were dancing around were slaughtered, then in a sane world, if only for the next few days, there would be decreased Jew hatred. But what has happened in the past 3 weeks? There has been massive demonstrations around the world of increased Jew hatred as a result of 1,400 Jews being slaughtered, the greatest number of Jews killed in one day, if I understood correctly the stats, since the Holocaust. So that's why I wrote that tweet, because it's the perfect cocktail of unbelievably dangerous parasitic ideas and our unwillingness to even start step one of addressing those parasitic ideas. As a matter of fact, we're doubling down on each of those dreadful ideas. And so I frankly don't have a good feeling for your grandchildren and mine, unfortunately.
Coming back to one of the core questions, why does Free Palestine, see such overall support? But there's almost, nil when it comes to Jews' right to coexist peacefully.
Because from the perspective of most Jew haters, a good Jew is one of two Jews. Either he sits, there's an expression in French, which I'll say it in French and then I'll translate, sois beau et tais-toi, which means be pretty, but stay quiet, right? So earlier, I mentioned what the dhimmi status is in Islamic lands. Anybody who is not Muslim, who is a kuffar, the people of the book, Ahl al-Katab, the Kutab, meaning Christians, meaning Jews, could be tolerated under. Now, typically they're killed or they're forced to convert. But there is a third option. We could tolerate you as long as you live as a dhimmi, second, third class citizen, right? Well, for most Jew haters around the world, and as I explained earlier, they come of many forms. There are Jew haters on the progressive left. There is Jew haters on the ultra-right. They come in many forms, but they're all united in their Jew hatred. Well, for those folks, Jews should always be quiet. We don't want Jews to be strong, right? So when you now have a confident Israeli nation that has personal agency that could defend itself, we can't tolerate that. That's not a good thing. Of course, we had Jews living in Arab lands, but they were in the minority. They kept quiet. We could at any moment decide that we were not going to tolerate them. By the way, Mr. Das, what's happened to Libyan Jews? Where are the Libyan Jews today? Where are the Algerian Jews? Where are the Yemeni Jews? Where are the Iraqi Jews? Where are the Egyptian Jews? Where are the Lebanese Jews? They all seem to have magically disappeared. The idea being that, of course, there are periods where Jews are tolerated, but they're tolerated until they're not tolerated, right? So it's kind of, the analogy is you're walking around thinking you're perfectly healthy until you drop dead of a heart attack. Until the moment you drop dead of a heart attack, you were walking thinking that life is good, and then boom, you're gone. So it's the same thing with the dhimmis in Islamic lands. You're tolerated until, inshallah, time comes and we no longer tolerate you. What's happened to all the Christian minorities in the Middle East? By the way, my homeland of Lebanon used to be the only Christian majority country in Lebanon. Oops, what happened now? And so the idea is that sure, we can tolerate Jews, but not when they are in a position of power. And so